Steo here. Got Steve England, and
That's me.
let's see what happens.
All right, let's see what happens.
Yeah. So, how's things, Steve?
So, yeah, all right. So, Steo, what was your introduction to punk rock then?
Punk rock. Ooh, Stiff Little Fingers, I guess.
Right, okay.
Yeah, expressing what I couldn't say.
Yeah,
But then, of course, I discovered Crash.
of
And
course.
the Ruts.
Yep, yeah, brilliant band.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know what got me? I never realised till I saw a documentary about it on telly. Was because I never really got into Feargal Sharkey and the Undertones, right? And I couldn't suss it out. They were a bit poppy and all that sort of thing. But when I saw this documentary, and they were saying, at the time we was doing it, you know, we were starting Ireland, there was the Troubles, which a lot of young people won't remember, but it was a fucking horrible time. And they said there were so many bands like Stiff Little Fingers and all that sort of thing doing songs about the Troubles that they just wanted to get out of that.
Right,
So
yeah.
It feels like I'm doing an interview.
Fire away. Fire away.
But
I'm an amateur, you're the professional.
yeah, but you know, and that really, and so now I've got a totally different take on the Undertones, and sort of, you know, I sit in a different light. You know, don't because everyone at that time was under the umbrella of punk, like Ian Dury. He'd been around for years, but was he punk? I don't know.
Yeah,
you
same
know,
as Stranglers, there were years before.
But all in that, you know, Elvis Costello was seen as the punk thing. So now I had to redo my brain and sort of now take people for what they are and not with this punk thing label on it.
Well, that's the problem with labels, isn't it?
Well, and that's the problem that I find, because obviously we're going to talk about music, and that's the problem I find when people, you know, oh, Steve, what, you know, give us your, I've done it a couple of times, Steve, give us your top 10 music list, you know, songs, tracks of all time. And I'm like, well, West Side Story.
I've seen your list.
Yeah. Joni Mitchell, there's no punk stuff in there.
And it stuns people.
It's really
They're
weird.
expecting discharge, conflict, whatever.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, that I was listening to music like, Billie Holiday back in the day, and I didn't understand it because I was very young, but I loved her voice. There was something about it, and she did this song called Strange Fruit, Hanging from the Tree, and it's about a lynching in the Deep South.
Right.
And it's really, really dark.
Gets you.
Yeah, oh, mate, it's dark, it's depressing, but it's worth listening, and that is the epitome of punk rock for me.
Okay.
Which is why, you know, my music taste is really eclectic.
And that's what you're doing with Slice of Life, is stuff along the same vein.
What I'm doing with Slice of Life is, I'm going back to all my influences, you know, and at the age of 61, I think I'm allowed to do it, you know, and you know, and I want to do, you know, I want to do a bit of soul, and I want to do a bit of ska, and I want to, well, you know, I mean, what we do isn't ska, but there are little undertones in there that you can hear where it's come from. Yeah, I want to do me Bowie bits and all that, you know, because that's the stuff I grew up with.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what turned me on. That's what switched me around.
Well, I heard you playing some Bowie songs last night with Slice of Life, and exceptional.
Yeah, thank you.
Exceptional. Yeah. It's nice to see Bowie getting credit on our circuit.
Well, yeah, I think he deserves it, and I think, you know, that everyone, you know, who saw that Starman thing when he first out on Top of the Pops, and he went, you know, pick on you, and he pointed, and it was like he's pointing at me.
Right. Okay.
Everyone in the world went, he's pointing at me. Everyone's got a different take on Bowie's lyrics and all this stuff, but I realised that I've always, when I'm doing me, like, because sometimes I muck about on an acoustic guitar, and I realised that what I'm really into with Dave Bowie is his very early stuff. So, for example, things like, not the Laughing Gnome, but things like Uncle Arthur or London Boys.
London Boys, yeah.
Which is why I do that one, because that speaks to me, you know, of being 17 and sort of being in London, and you think it's glamorous and all this sort of stuff. And
of course, and it's got dirty, rotten, seedy underbelly.
And you know that, Steo, because you went through it. Yeah, so that's, you know, I realise that's what I'm doing, because I always loved the way that he sort of, you read his lyrics from his early stuff, and he was writing lyrics, he wasn't doing the cut and paste thing like he did later, but they're like little stories. And also I realised that Bowie, for example, he does a song called Uncle Arthur, and I knew that was from a book by Anne Sillitoe, and it's from a short story called the Disgrace of Jim Scarfdale. and it's if you listen to Uncle Arthur, you know, he goes away, he leaves his mum, goes to live with this woman, she can't cook and all this, and he has a horrible time, so he goes back to mum. Well, that's the story of Jim Scarfdale. And he did another song called There Is a Happy Land, which is about children, and that's from a Keith Waterhouse book. Yeah, so it's all these little things, and so I got into that, and I just love the way he does that early.
And does that have a big influence on the way you write?
Yeah, that poetry, that poetic, you know,
that storytelling.
Yeah, I was listening to that stuff when I was having a really bad time at home. It was, you know, I weren't abused physically or anything like that, but it was just a sterile, boring, humdrum, dreadful thing. I was going to a horrible comprehensive school which still had corporal punishment, so I was getting a stick. I was getting a stick and a slipper and Christ knows what. And they thought to calm me down, they'd make me a prefect, which was worse because then I could smoke outside, and I was meant to take the names of latecomers so they could get punished. And
here you go, Steve. Be a good lad. You can be a grass.
Yeah, I'll give us a fag, mate, and I'll let you through. See, and I had this little thing going, but and they caught me smoking, so that was it. I'll stop being a prefect. But I used to play truant a hell of a lot, you know, and
so did we. We used to go down the fields, fires, nicking milk off doorsteps. It's what you did, wasn't it?
And didn't you learn more from doing that about life than sitting there being taught geometry or
more about people?
Logarithms.
That's for sure.
What the fuck is a logarithm? It's a fraction of a fraction that you use if you're going to be a technical you know.
I thought it was just a long word.
No, it's actually a fraction of a fraction. Like anyone who's a mathematician, easy for me to say out there. No, it was just ridiculous. And you know, all they were doing in Dagenham, where I grew up, they were challenging me towards a job in the factory, and if you passed 11 plus, you'd be a white collar worker in the office.
Right,
if
so
you
that's
didn't
where the
pass,
split happened.
You would be on the shop floor.
And the girls were trying for the.
They were going to be. They'd be a
typist,
typist, or they'd do cooking or something like that, or you know, that sort of thing.
I've heard Paul Simmons said the same thing.
Yeah,
when he was going to school, was you were educated for the factory across the road.
That was it. Which shut down anyway. And it's all gone. So, you know, so I used to play truant, and I'd always sing, you know, walking along the road, David Bowie songs, because it was like, it was a fantasy world I could escape into. That song he does, Kooks, you know, about his kid, you know, and if the homework brings you down, then we'll throw it on the fire and take the car downtown. Mate, why can't I have parents like that? How brilliant was that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, don't cry about it, Steve. Come on, we'll get in the car. Did we have a fucking car?
No, I don't think any of us.
No.
I think that's what we found in music, wasn't it? We discovered these lyrics, and it's like, fuck me, that's a different world. That's a perfect world. And this guy's saying what I wanted to say. Well, how do I say it? He said it already, but thank you. And then you get dragged into it deeper and deeper, and it brings you off on all types of tangents. A bit like going on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
But yeah, fascinating. Fascinating. So, tell us, Slice of Life.
Well,
new album?
Yeah, new album is out called Don't Turn Away. The front cover was inspired by a film called Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, which was a book by Anna Sillitoe.
This Anna Sillitoe keeps cropping up.
I know. Well, that's what I used to read when I was a kid and escape, you know, because he was talking about people.
Okay.
He was talking about the outcasts, which was me.
Which was the same, as you explained to me previously, the Punch and Judy thing.
Absolutely.
Is of similar. A lot of people don't realise it's actually anti-system, isn't it?
And the thing that people don't realise is that it used to be called Punch and Joan. Because you've got, well, you know that squeaky voice that's called a swazzle. Well, when you put that swazzle in your mouth, when you say Joni, 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 it sounds like Judy, 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 and that's where it got bastardised. And also, Joan used to be I think it was a medieval or possibly a Victorian word for chambermaid.
A Joan?
Yeah, Joan. Yeah, it's a Joan. Yeah.
Wow, how strange.
I know. I don't know where it comes from. So you you don't know if they're married, and where the hell does that baby? Where's that come from? You know. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but
no, further away.
So and when it started, it was for adults. It wasn't for children.
Adults puppets for
It
adults.
was it's for adults.
In the same little.
But they'd do it on the street.
What's it called? The stand thing.
Yeah, the booth. Yeah, but
booth,
they'd do it on street corners and things like that. And it was when it first started, there would actually be a person dressed up as Punch who would walk on stage, and there'd be plays and everything. So, but really, the character of Punch is, it comes from the Italian, which is Punchinella, which means something to do with a chicken, which is the squeaky voice. But he's the actual figure is an alcoholic hunchback.
He's a decrepit looking creature,
because he's
got
got
a huge nose and
and he's always got very small legs. So he's to use their terms, he's a cripple. Nowadays you'd say he's got a disability or whatever.
Of course, yeah.
But that's where it comes from. But he was the original working class hero. And the strange thing is that when he came to England, he started wearing red and black. The anarchist
favourite anarchist colours.
How weird is?
He's
the only person who could trick the hangman into his own noose. And it's bizarre.
It's the working class getting justice.
He was the first working class hero. That little, because where it originally comes from, back in medieval times, when royalty or the dukes and duchesses would go to stay in their bloody stately homes in whatever around the country for their entertainment, they would get the local, what you'd call the village idiots, or I used to call the village idiots. So you're talking people with Down syndromes or people who have got a walk different or something like that, and I'd get these people in to make them dance to entertain the upper class. Yeah, and that's where Punch comes. He's fighting against that.
Fuck me, Ron.
Yeah, it's bonkers, isn't it? Yeah, that's Isn't it a wonderful world?
Isn't it great?
Yeah, I know, sorry, depressing, but
there's much
still.
chance. I think we should cheer things up and play a song.
So going on a different note, this track, Steo, I first heard this when I was 12 years old. I was in Dagenham, and I was sitting on the back doorstep of my mate's house.
You can still remember where you were when you first
I can still
heard it.
remember it because it was one. Is it called a catharsis or an epiphany or something? A flash of light in my head.
Okay.
Because up till then I'd be wearing the clothes that my parents bought for me, which was usually hand-me-downs and plastic, tough, TUF and all that stuff. And this bloke walked up the garden path next door, and he had a two-tone yellow and green suit on, with a shaved head and two side partings shaved in, and he sort of floated down his garden path, went inside, and he put on this amazing record, and it was 5456 by Toots and the Maytals. And from that point I went, I want to look like that. And that was my first ever sense of I can have an identity. I don't have to wear the stuff that my parents buy for me. I want my own identity.
Breaking free.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So here's Toots and the Maytals.
Yeah. Well, from reggae.
Yeah.
And Toots.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big lover of dub.
Yeah.
And not many people know, but you're quite into your soul.
Well, obviously I went through the skinhead thing, and got into all that, bought the Tighten Up volumes and that kind of thing, borrowed, begged and stole Trojan records and all this, sneaked in to see Desmond Dekker at the Cranbrook Hall in Ilford, Essex.
The Cranbrook Hall?
Yeah, the Cranbrook Hall, yeah. Was the Cranbrook? Yeah, Cranbrook Road, Cranbrook Hall. And the older skinheads let us in, and because we were so young, they would sort of thought we was cheeky, but they sort of protected us.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was really good, and saw that. And then the skinhead thing sort of started to fade out. It went into Suedehead, and then it went into a thing called Smoothie, where it was like just getting into like the round collared shirts, like we used to call them elephant ear shirts, and the budgie jackets and that sort of thing. Yeah, the sort of slightly flared trousers. Getting into that, but still sort of tasty. And of course, then I started listening to the stuff that they were playing at their. We used to call them discos, So we used to go down. Where was it? We used to call the Ilford Palais. Used to go. And I started getting into not soul, but things like dancing. I got into dancing.
I can't picture you jumping around the ballroom.
Well, I used to be pretty fucking good, and believe it or not, I'm not going to show you, Steo, because I'm 61, mate, and there might be a bit of clicking going on.
I want to keep me dinner down.
But yeah, so I was listening to things like obviously the stylistics and all that sort of thing. But then I was listening, you know, the Motowny stuff like Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, you know, Supremes, the 3 Degrees, all that sort of stuff. But there was one song by the Four Tops that was sort of, I don't know, it was an anthem, and I think it still is, you know. And it's, you know, you can read into the lyrics and go, ugh, you know, all this, but it's called, you know, Need Your Loving by the Four Tops.
I read your book.
Yeah.
And I spoke to you about this many times in
Yeah.
the past. You were, it sounds like a Human League lyric, you were working in a hospital.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you were working in a hospital doing what?
Bristol.
Mixing
Yeah, I
plaster
was.
Paris. Or
Yeah, so I
something.
was a plaster technician, which means in those days it was putting plaster of Paris on people's broken limbs, all that stuff. Yeah, it was great.
You might, you had
Loved it.
an epiphany then as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did because yeah, this girl came in wearing very strange clothes, and she'd sort of done a wristing or something like that. And I went, you know, I went, what's with the clothes then? And she went, oh, ain't you with a punk rock? And I went, well, I sort of heard of it, I don't know. And she went, well, you know, there's this great band playing in the Colston Hall on Friday. Why don't you go and check it out? And I went, well, will you be there? And she went, yeah, I'll be there. I went, all right, I'll buy you a drink. And she went, oh, all right. All I was thinking of was going to bed with her. Or
Yeah, of
whatever,
course,
you
of
know,
course.
walked in, and it was the Clash. And it just blew me away. I mean, I didn't see her. Forget that. No, I was blown away with the band. You know,
taken away,
I
like.
think Richard Hell and the Voidoids were supporting, but I can't remember them at all. I just remember being blown away by, firstly, Paul Simonon, who looked about 20 feet tall with that bass and fucking gorgeous. You know, really good looking.
Yeah,
I went,
fine cut bloke.
I want to look like that, you know, with his Dr. Martens, and I was like, oh, this is, and the music, you know, and when I first heard that, you know, Janie Jones, that was it,
Jones.
yeah,
It's groundbreaking, isn't it?
yeah, that done it for me. And it was like being back on the terraces at West Ham. It was, I'd found a voice. Yes, it was rough. It was sort of, not really frightening because it was the very early days of punk in Bristol. So, you know, there were people with patches on, I hate Pink Floyd, but still wearing flares and sort of mullets and things. So it was that crossover thing.
Infancy.
I mean, you know, who the hell, apart from the elite London lot, you know, for the Bromley contingent, could afford to buy clothes at Sex?
Well, if you
know,
look back, apparently it didn't exist outside of London.
mate,
Sure it
it's,
didn't.
yeah, I mean, and it was it's the old age thing. You know, it's the old thing of, yeah, it only happens in, no, it don't. You know, it was a rip off. You know, who could afford it?
Exactly. I remember we did a shop in Dublin.
Yeah.
And you'd have, obviously, I was, 13, 14, and to get a pair of bondage trousers was like 30 odd quid.
Yeah, well,
and
yeah.
That was me dad's wages.
Yeah, I know.
You
I know.
couldn't afford that. And yet you had these kids going around wearing them. You go,
Yeah, I know.
spun me out, so we used to rub the clothes off washing lines, bleach them and chop them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I used to rip up T-shirts and put, you know, sub a zip in.
Yeah,
You know, I used to do it myself, you know.
That's where I learnt me sewing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can still sew today.
Yeah.
Not very good, but I got away with it.
Yeah, yeah, me and all. Yeah, I can still do it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's you know. So as I was saying, it was that crossover thing. So that it weren't. No one was looking particularly like Johnny Rotten and all that, and you know, really smart and all the right gear and all this. You did what you could, you know, and I was like, well, you know, I want to be a part of this. And then I was back because I was staying with my brother and his wife at the time. And a documentary came on with Janet Street Porter interviewing the Sex Pistols, and she said, oh, so Johnny, tell me what it was like before. And he went, oh, people love me. And the way he was so disdaining and all that, and I was like, this is brilliant. And I turned to my brother and I went, if I came home looking like that, what would you do? And he went, I'd tell you to go and have a bath. This from the intergalactic hippie sort of, you know, hitchhiked all around the thing, the rebel thing, and suddenly he's part of the establishment, and it's ooh. So I was like, right. And I had to go. I had to go and see me. I was going to go and see my mum and dad, and I thought, well, mum and stepdad, and I thought, well, I'm there. I'll check out my old drinking buddies from Dagenham, you know, and see if they want to start a band. And of course, they all had girlfriends or got married and all this, so they weren't into it. So then I thought, well, fuck it, I'll go and see my old mate Penny Rambo. Pops over to see him, and walked in the back door. It was just him there. I went, what are you up to? And he went, oh, well, G's gone to America. She's sort of doing this thing, and he said, what are you up to? I went, I'm starting to think of starting a band, Pen. And he went, oh, well, I've been listening to Patti Smith. I went, yeah, well, I've been listening to The Clash, mate. And he went, well, I'll play drums for you. And I went, all right. And he went, well, why don't you stick around for a while? And we got drunk and stoned that night. I had a little bit of speed, so we had that. And and the relationship was born. And that's literally how Crash started.
Brilliant.
That's literally it.
And then you've re-released all that
stuff. Yeah,
stuff.
Well, we had to do that because there was we were ripped off by a certain record label.
Not the first band, and certainly not the last.
I know. I've just been talking to a bloke from Radical Dance Faction, and he's almost
Chris.
He's almost in tears over it because he just can't get anything out of them. But to actually get lawyers to do anything about it, it's going to cost him thousands, mate. And it's disgusting. And what really breaks my heart is that I trusted that bloke.
Well, so did Chris.
Yeah.
So did Chris.
He was
wholeheartedly.
And I was supporting him in interviews and, but he's a Scientologist. Oh, no, don't worry about that, but he's all right. Turns out it wasn't. And then the next person who came along, because I'm not going to mention names, right?
Yeah, of course, legal and all that shit.
Yeah. And that was just as bad. That was worse. I did this tour called, people might remember it, called The Last Supper.
I remember The Last
Supper.
Yeah,
and it turns out I owed the company, the label, 3,500 quid.
Hang on.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You're playing a load of sell-out shows.
Yeah, I know.
Across how many different continents?
Yeah, have you seen my chip shop? Have you seen my recording studio or my fucking
I've fed your racehorse
or my Porsche outside? Have you seen my Fender Stratocaster thing, whatever it is?
Unreal.
I know.
Unreal.
What a load of bollocks.
And that's what Chris was given as well.
I know.
Chris went down and
when my balls dropped, sorry about that.
He asked for he said, oh, I want my albums. I don't think he wanted me talking about this. And they said, no, you owe us telephone numbers.
I know.
And he's going, well, how the fuck can I do that? You saw me records.
Yeah.
They charted. And he got nothing.
I know. Anyway, getting off of that,
Yeah, so listen, the song that started it all, Janie Jones.
Janie Jones is, whenever I hear that, my hairs go up. I'm back. I can smell it, I can taste it. I'm back there in London, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do, but if you watch, they're doing reruns of The Sweeney and The Professionals.
I do indeed.
And I watch it, but I look at the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm looking at the old cars.
Same as the motors and the cloud they're wearing.
And the corrugated iron fences.
Everywhere.
And I'm like, I remember it.
That's what I was expecting when I first came to London in 86, 87. I was expecting just corrugated iron.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously it wasn't like that where we ended up, but didn't last long.
Have you been to London lately?
No,
Don't
go. I'll tell you, Steve, I was down there at Christmas. We played the gig down there and in New Cross. And they used to say, you want to see Dickensian in England? You want to see Dickensian in England, go to New Cross. And it was great in the 90s, early 90s. Brilliant. Squatting, we had clubs, we had parties, we had shebanes, we'd have... Went down, it's like being in fucking...
Camden Town or something.
Worse. It's gone up to where's the fucking Strummer and all live, where Notting Hill.
Yeah.
It's like Notting Hill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't afford anything in the shops. It's...
Yeah.
Well, progress.
Well, it's really funny because I've got a mate, Lev, and he's an ex-miner from up north, and he had always wanted to go to the Imperial War Museum because his dad was in the Sherwood Foresters or something in the First World War, so he just wanted to, So I went, I'll Lev, I'll go with you if you want, because my granddad was in the First World War. And he goes, all right. So he was very nervous because it was not long after the London Bridge thing.
Oh, yes,
that nutcase in the fucking van and all that bollocks. Yeah, twat. And I said, I'll go with you. So, but he was very nervous. So we went to the Imperial War Museum, walked around. Of course, it's full of fucking school kids, all sort of pelting about, not looking, and total disrespect and all. So we look at all the stuff.
You can't expect a kid to
I know.
It's like going to a museum.
I know. So anyway, we come out of there, we're having a fag. I went, right, come on in, Lev. Have you seen enough, or do you want to? He went, no, I've seen enough now. So I went, all right, well, I'll tell you what, we'll go back to, because we'd come back, because he lives in Norwich, not, or in Norfolk, not I do. So I said, but we've got like 3 hours till our train goes back to Norfolk. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take you down the East End and I'll show you a pub where Jack the Ripper victims used to drink, and I'll take you to a pub where the Cray twins used to go. And he went, oh, that'd be interesting. So go down there, like, get the tube. He's nervous, it's like, ooh. I'm like, calm down. And get off at Whitechapel, walk round, go to this pub that used to be called the Grave Maurice. just opposite London Hospital. And I went, where the fuck is it? Da-da-da-da. Gone. It's a gentleman's club now.
Oh.
Yeah, and it used to be this lovely old pub with booths. You know, you could sit in these booth things, you know, gone. And I went, oh, right, fuck it. So we walk up Brick Lane. I was like, well, up here is like, it used to be called the 10 Bells. Actually, I think it's back now. Or I had the wrong pub. Walked up there. Was it there? Was it fucking noodle bar?
See, there was
And I was like, bollocks. And we ended up walking back, and we ended up drinking at Liverpool Street Station. Yes, and yeah. With all the officey types and
of course, yeah.
So yeah.
Sad state, but very sad.
Yeah. And I think on that point, you should play something like, I don't know, it's a sad song or something.
It's a sad song, or London's Calling, because it's certainly drowning, isn't it?
Or London's Going. Yeah. London's Calling would be, Live by the river. Yeah, right, if you can afford it.
No, fair. Everyone's fair down there now.
Now, I do remember when I was in America doing the Last Supper tour, right? Yeah. And we was on this nightliner bus because it's cheaper than hotels and all this.
Of course,
You've been on one, right. And so we're sitting there. It's like we're in Canada, and Steve got to do an interview with these people from the west coast of America at 3:00 in the afternoon. So I'm like, all right, and I was so tired, right, and I'd been drinking and stuff like this. So the bloke goes, oh yeah, so Steve, how would you describe Crash's music? And I went, well, I said, the thing with Crash's music is it ain't about sitting down with a cup of tea and a Marmite sandwich, mate. It's about putting it on late at night after having a few beers, flip your missus over and fuck her up the arse. And the whole band just went and there was a stunned silence from the other end, and I went, don't put that in, I'm joking. And then we all burst into laughter. But it was so unexpected for me to say. I meant it as a joke, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I went, no, edit it out. So make your mind.
That's definitely going in.
Okay, well, yes, but it was a joke. So, because I'll be fucking crucified. So.
Well, cheers.
And on that note, what they call Happy Mondays, yippee, yay, got to crucify someone to African something.
All right, cheers, buddy.
Cheers, bro.
See you next year.
See you later.